Welcome to the Gaming's Greatest Generation podcast, where we discuss news, reviews, and all things video games with your hosts, the OG Leo Hawley, the overachiever Mark Lombardi, and Mr. Contradiction himself, Matt Harms. Stay tuned for ways to connect with the G3 community, contribute to the show, or tell us about your greatest gaming experiences. Now, let's get to the show.
Greetings, gamers, and welcome to another episode of the G3 podcast, here for episode 34 on April 8th. Yep, April 8th of 2022. You got the whole crew in the house. Yours truly, known as Ice on all things gaming and social media, and I'm joined by none other than Mr. MowThemDown, Matt. What's going on, brother?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy to be here as always. Ready to discuss some interesting topics that we've been able to kind of, dredge out of the otherwise relatively slow week. So, yeah, let's holler at our boy Mark and see how he's doing.
And holla at a boy we shall. Mark, what's going on?
I'm here. Got a family full of sickness. Raising the old kiddos, but glad to be here.
Last week is funny. So recapping on last week's rhyme, it was kind of funny because for the listeners offline, we went ahead and we had our chat, and Mark was actually surprised by the little intro rhyme. He was like, "Oh, okay, we ended the show and no one said anything to me." Yeah, oh, okay. I guess you guys respect my family so much that you're going to give me all the time I need. So all the time we need, indeed. And so real quick housekeeping up front. You are listening to Gaming's Greatest Generation podcast. You can check us out on any listening service. And if there's not, or if we're not available on that service, please hit us up, via Discord or send us an email. We would love to know. And that way we'll get on said service. Otherwise, you can go ahead and check us out on video via YouTube. And feel free to go ahead and give us a rating, give us a big old like button, hit that subscribe button, and let us know that you actually like what we're talking about, because that's the only way we're going to know, honestly, unless you guys talk to us about it. But we love doing what we do here, and we're going to keep on going, much to maybe the chagrin of some or the surprise of others. Mark. Moving right into the news.
In both cases, oddly enough.
Yeah, and weirdly enough. So moving with the news, we're going to kind of run through a couple of these titles real quick, and then we'll open it back up for group discussion. So first and foremost, kind of interesting. We talked last week about PlayStation Plus, or PlayStation revealing the new PlayStation Plus tiered service that's going to be coming out in June with Essentials, Premium, and then what was it called, actually? Sorry, before I misspeak. Essential, Extra, and Premium, yeah. And so, again, kind of a little bit of housekeeping. My apologies if last week's episode seemed a little chopped up. It's honestly because I removed about 12 minutes in total of me going ahead and kind of ranting because, surprise, surprise, a blog post is not my love language, PlayStation. And I had actually completely missed out on the line that they had in the blog post where it said PlayStation Now customers will migrate over to PlayStation Plus Premium, again, the highest tier, with no increase to their current subscription and fees at launch. And this was just a little bit of confusion on my part because they had sent me an email earlier this year and it seemed contradictory to, what they're talking about here. But that all leads us into our second piece of news out of Game Rant, which is that certain PlayStation Now subscribers went ahead and actually took advantage of an exploit in the system and were able to add years of their PlayStation Now service subscription at basically half price of what will be the new PlayStation Now in the future. So Wario64 went ahead and, if you're familiar, it's a Twitter user that has well over 1 million subscribers, usually posts about game-related sales and news, etc. Went ahead and highlighted that there was apparently code left on the PlayStation website. You couldn't access it through the app, but on the PlayStation website, if you actually went to this page, it would have kind of a side pop-up bar where you could go ahead and renew the annual subscription for 12 months, which, if you're tracking, PlayStation already got rid of everything outside of a single month subscription to PlayStation Now. So apparently folks were going in there, and I believe this is also reported out of IGN, their Middle East division, where they highlighted as well that a number of users were going in there and taking advantage, racking that up. We'll see if PlayStation goes ahead and actually honors their word going forward, as they've already alluded to. If you have an existing PlayStation Now subscription, not stipulating anything about the combination of PS Now and PS Plus, but they stipulated if you have PS Now, they're going to honor that at the PlayStation Plus Ultimate tier, premium, going forward once the new service comes online in June. So we'll see, how that goes. PlayStation also announced just a couple days ago on the official PlayStation podcast, they had Sony Interactive Entertainment President Jim Ryan himself talking about the way forward with PlayStation, giving out two quotes that I found interesting. "We're in a really good place with PlayStation Studios right now, and we have been for the past few years. The critical success and the commercial success of the games that they've been making, that has given us permission to invest heavily in content creation." He further has another quote in here that talks about the level of investment that we need to make in our studios would not be possible, and we think the knock-on effect on the quality of the games that we make would not be something that gamers want. So that quote was more so in response and follow on to a GameIndustry.biz interview that he did when they announced the new PlayStation Plus service, basically answering the question of why Sony was not going to go ahead and have their first party games come day and date with the PlayStation Plus service, something that I think a lot of folks pretty much knew wasn't going to happen, but they went ahead and put the nail in the coffin on that one pretty solidly. And the justification that Jim Ryan says here is simply that the money they have to invest, they'd rather invest in basically acquiring more studios, as sourced through IGN, and again through the official PlayStation podcast. But they said they would rather spend the money on acquiring and developing organic studios rather than go ahead and put it into a subscription service like the new PlayStation Plus. That being said, hopefully this will amount to as good, if not better, reviews of some of their first-party games. So we didn't get a chance to talk about it on the show previously, but Ghostwire Tokyo actually came out on March 22nd, so we're a little bit late on this one, but we had mentioned it in previous shows. Came out so now we're about 2 weeks plus in, and it's sitting on a Metascore of 75 for the PlayStation 5 version, as well as a user score of 8.0. So pretty good reviews overall. But so hopefully PlayStation, dealing with these future new acquisitions, including Bungie and Haven Studios, which they just announced, will go ahead and lead to some top-notch quality first-party titles that we can expect coming out of PlayStation, maybe to eventually get into the PlayStation Now service. So Mark, you were off last week. Let's give you kind of first cut. All this PlayStation news, does this spell out good things for PlayStation? Is it doom and gloom because they're not doing the day and date thing? What are your thoughts?
Well, it's a good thing that they're launching these services for the PS users as yourself that took advantage of the trick, as they call it, whatever your credit card company may not be happy about, but I'm glad you were able to get a couple years in.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Me, on the other hand, still not on the PlayStation bandwagon yet. Sticking with my PS4 for now. No online, but I may dabble within the next year or so. Ghostwire Tokyo, I'll wait for a sale to come around. I'm not dire need of it right now. I have enough to play. So I'll wait on that.
Okay, yep. And it did also come out on PC, right, on Steam, and I believe I saw that came out to a user score of 77 on there. Mark, remind me, do you have a PS4 standard or a Pro?
Just the OG white PS4.
Ooh, the white one. Okay, that's like the anniversary
That was
one.
the Destiny bundle, or whatever they called it back then.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I would have liked to get my hands on one of those. So, Matt, what are you thinking about all this PlayStation news? You think that first party is gonna be a force to be reckoned with in the future here?
I mean, that's always been their calling card, right? Is all the exclusive first party stuff that they've got. I mean, Ghostwire Tokyo is not, of course, one of those, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of their hallmark. So I would have to imagine there's a reason that they're, going to try and stick with that. If nothing else, as of right now, they've got a fairly decent selling point for anybody like me who might be trying to, get their toes into the PlayStation waters finally. There's quite a backlog there that you can access for, the subscription price, which is going to be a lot cheaper than purchasing all those games. And then you're sort of paying it forward to eventually access maybe some of the, better, newer first party stuff that they're releasing now and say, a year or something or two after you've, paid a little bit into the system, so to speak. So, I don't know, not my top priority right now as far as tech or hardware goes, but I'll, it's on the list.
So, and should you go ahead and move into that subscription service in the future, because it sounds like you think it's a good deal, which would you be Which would you be more inclined to? Would you be more inclined to the extra tier that basically has most of that backlog in the form of PS4 games, or would you, and there's some older generation as well, or would you be interested in that premium tier that has backlog all the way back to PS1,
right?
Streaming,
yeah, no, honestly, yeah, I would probably go for the full bundle on that.
As well.
I mean, that I've missed out on it all essentially. So for the most part, so. Yeah, I mean, I'd be more than happy to get full access to that. And then, of course, as far as whether or not that remains worth it, in 4 or 5 years after I've played everything I could possibly have interest in or whatever, hard to say. But who knows what, the landscape will be looking like at that point or how they may be modifying the deal. So.
Very well, very well. So speaking of modifying the deal and the landscape, a new deal may actually be in the works. So this news coming out of Windows Central from Ches Gordon, who actually is usually pretty good on his accuracy with these reports, but says that Microsoft is actually moving ahead with plans for an Xbox Game Pass family plan. So nothing alluding specifically to price, but there are some specifics he alluded to in here, that being it'll allow access for 5 players in the family. The family ideally needs to be located within the same country or region, I guess, if you want to talk about it in the technical sense. But still nothing by way of the specifics there to include, hey, is this going to be Game Pass Ultimate, or is this going to be kind of the console version? I am personally on the line of hoping that it's an ultimate, because I think that is a great selling point that, hey, anywhere you want to play, whether it's on the phone, the TV, if you're talking about especially a family in a single domicile, well, if somebody's on the TV, but somebody else wants to play, what's their option? Go to another TV or another console? Oh, snap, I've got my iPad or, something, a different tablet, non-iPad. There's other opportunities there. So I think that would honestly be kind of the best way going forward. Rounding the table the other way. Matt, what are we thinking? This is something we talked about briefly offline. Is this something we're excited for?
Depending on what the details are, yeah, absolutely. If it's going to be something that'll allow people to, get maybe a bit of a discount on what they're already paying for, then hey, cool. If it is going to be something that's really more drawn toward trying to, hey, buy all your kids individual Xboxes, and then I will give you a break on, the Game Pass for everybody. That won't be so great. So we'll see. I'll be curious to see details. Hopefully it'll be something we can take advantage of.
All right. So we did it before with the PlayStation Now service. Let's do it right now. Make or break. What's that price point that's going to do it for you? What's going to sell that family plan?
I mean, if it allows us to all have, Game Pass Ultimates and pay even a little bit less than what we currently are, then I'm cool with that. So yeah, I don't know. Anything is cool. It just all depends on the details. If it's going to be, I'm trying to get a Game Pass account for the girl or whatever, and it's limited to like household or something somehow, however they would do that. Yeah, I'm not paying for 5 accounts if I'm only needing 2 or whatever. So, it'll all just come down to the details.
And for reference, we all are related, right? We're all like brothers from another mother, so to speak. Mark,
That's right.
Mark, so you got other things like Nintendo Switch Online that have already gone ahead and taken the plunge with the family plan stuff. So Xbox, Game Pass coming out 2017, 2018 timeframe, like they're coming on the tail end here, and you got Disney Plus, Netflix, all these other legit subscription services, albeit for a slightly different medium, that go ahead and have family plan. What are we thinking? Is this high time that they do this? And if so, what's the price point that's going to send you over and say buy?
Well, like Matt said, it's all in the details. So like,
$3.93.
yeah,
The devil is in the details.
yeah, like from what the article states, it's just Xbox Game Pass, but like, am I still gonna have to pay for like the live service and then this family plan? Like, you know what I mean? So like, is it
You're talking about the live service in the sense of like Xbox Live?
actually having the service, and then you're gonna have this family plan separate? I don't know if it would make sense for it all to be one, but the way they're putting it, this sounds like it's just the Game Pass service they're trying to do a family plan for.
Yeah, it leads to a discussion that I heard earlier on another podcast talking about, do we need to get rid of Xbox Live Gold, essentially, right? Because nowadays you've got so many different services that don't lock multiplayer behind a paywall. You may argue that PlayStation Plus is still doing that. But you have all these services that aren't locking multiplayer play behind a paywall. The games with gold that have come out the past few months, I think everybody can agree, has not been, the shining star of the Xbox enterprise. And so it begs the question of like, why does that still exist? Like, rather than go ahead and incentivize folks to want to get into at least the ground level tier of Game Pass, that being $10 a month for Game Pass for console.
Yeah, they need to come out with like just a service like like you just said, like the games of gold is like, I'm just gonna say it's trash. It's not, to me. I'm like, I don't even go on there anymore to like look at the games. Like, I'm just strictly online and Game Pass. That's all I look at. So like, they just need to have some type of separate service that has nothing to do with all that, and then like the family plan stuff. But like, this another thing is like, is this going to go hand in hand with the PC Game Pass? Like, can I have a PC Game Pass and you two have the Xbox Game Pass? So like, I guess we just have to wait and see how it comes out.
Yeah, as you said, the devil's in the details. So looking at it right now, April, they had a couple games come out. Another Site, Hue, Outpost, Coloki X, and MX versus ATV Alive. I've always wanted to play the MX versus ATV games. I just haven't got to them. Hue is a great game, I will say that. But otherwise, I can't really speak to the rest of them. Matt, do you want to finish out this topic for us?
Just wanted to add on that, yeah, I mean, you have Xbox Live Gold, but PlayStation still, requires a paid membership for online stuff. Nintendo obviously does as well. You don't really see that as much with PC games unless if it's, like an MMO or something. But the reason is maybe primarily one reason on PC side, but there's kind of a couple of reasons on console side. The primary motivator or factor is the cost of running the servers. You're putting up dedicated servers that costs money. On PC, if it's not something that's going to require thousands of players logged in at once, then you might just be having people run their own servers or whatever. That's pretty common. You even see that now with console or whatever that is. I think Discord has Nitro or whatever. What's that other thing? For like Arc servers and stuff. So that is, of course, an alternative, I guess. But are people going to want, console aside, you're already kind of trying to game with the budget. Are you going to be trying to like rent servers now just universally for all your games? There's also for the console players, there's also a heavy factor in trying to safeguard against just abuse, of people online or whatever, bad actors coming in. If accounts are free and access is free, even you get banned. Well, cool. I'll change my IP and I'll create a new account and I'll come right back in and still be an asshole. So if there's a little skin in the game, by your subscription cost or whatever your purchase, the entry fee, they can at least maybe try and deter some of that. So I don't expect that to necessarily go anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, I was trying to make sure here as you mentioned that. I remember Xbox Live Gold was a thing, but Silver was a thing too. And I can't remember. I want to say Silver is just like, yeah, you have a generic
It
membership.
basically just allows you access to the store and stuff.
Right.
I don't think you can play anything online.
Yeah.
I mean, free to play stuff, but
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Cool. So let's just solve the world's problems then before we move on from this, right, guys? So if they were to go ahead, we already saw the reaction that happened last year when Xbox tried to, I want to say this was in the fall time, right? They tried to make some announcement of, hey, we're going to go ahead and double the cost of Xbox Live Gold. And it was clearly something to incentivize players to go ahead and move over to Game Pass, but got shot down pretty much same day. Like it barely made the news cycle, so much so that everybody, gave so much backlash. But what about this? What about if they were to go ahead and roll in the opportunity? Because really, we already said playing online multiplayer, okay, you have that same opportunity with Game Pass, right? That is a perk that comes with Game Pass. So if Game Pass was to now allow you, really the only distinguishment I see at least is you get discounts for Game with Gold, you get discounts for Game Pass. So once again, you're going ahead and you have kind of a equal opportunity, one in the same service there. So the only thing different that I see is those free games with gold every month. So if that's the case, what if they went ahead and they incorporated some opportunity for the free games with gold with your Game Pass subscription, and then they basically did away with Xbox Live Gold, therefore incentivizing you to go to Game Pass, and then you have this subscription service with a much larger library on top of the fact that maybe some months you'll have the opportunity to keep those games even when they go out of rotation without necessarily paying for them. Is that something, Mark, that, you would feel on board with getting rid of gold for to hop onto Game Pass if you weren't already in Game Pass?
Yes.
Okay.
It's kind of like the Nintendo ordeal. Like they don't get rid of anything; they just add to it. Like you're playing a game for 5 months, and all like you gotta play, gotta beat it in 5 months before it's gone. So like, and then like Nintendo service, it's like you can just go back to whenever, and it's been 2 years now or whatever long it is. But yeah, to me, that's worth more than the actual live service for gold or whatever. Like I'd rather just have access to the game all times, pay for the service, whatever.
So Matt, you said basically a lot of good points talking about server upkeep and everything, which they're already paying for with Game Pass. So is that going to basically shift consumers in your mindset if they say, hey, we're going to not only give you this library of rotating content, but some of those games you'll actually be able to keep and hold on to as long as you maintain your subscription. Is that something you think would incentivize folks to, if they just drop Xbox Live Gold?
Essentially, I feel like they're already doing that. Like if they're gonna maintain a lot of stuff in there already, whatever, you're getting access to all the first party stuff. I feel like they're probably going to be hesitant to really try and push that. I mean, obviously, people already reacted pretty negatively. The main issue is that they don't want to price out those holdout customers. You know what I mean? Like at this point, it's hard for me to imagine that there is anybody who has separate gold and Game Pass accounts, because why, when you get even more for 15 or whatever, with the ultimate, if you're doing monthly. So I would imagine that the holdouts have yet to get into Game Pass for a reason, for whatever reason, and maybe you don't want to push them too much because $10 is more than zero if they decide to go a different direction or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, compelling arguments, so to speak, but it's like there's already Game Pass Ultimate, and that is a pretty good value still for the moment. So if you can't afford or don't wish to spend the extra amount or whatever on that versus the gold, I don't know that forcing people and just being like, well, you still get your gold benefits or whatever is going to be enough for them, since that's already the case. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I think that one's a shallow hill in the sense of, if people are paying monthly, so we kind of talked about this before with the PlayStation Plus thing. If they're paying for Xbox Live Gold, they're only paying $5 a month. Whereas for them to pay, if they were paying monthly for, yeah, right, because it's 60 a year.
I couldn't even remember any. Yeah, it's been so long. I just think of it all in terms of Ultimate.
Yeah, so if they're paying for Game Pass for console, that's $10 a month. So that'd be $120 a year. So
then it's already $15. What
is $120? Ultimate is $15
a month. Right.
Ultimate so you have your 5 tiers or 3 tiers in a sense, right? You got Xbox Live Gold, which you have no library access, but that's $5 a month. $5 more a month gets you that library.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But it's $10. Like, it's not Xbox Live and Game Pass. Like, the Game Pass separate is $10. So you're already essentially paying the $15. Ultimate just bundles it together to lock you into that, I guess, and also gets you like the PC and streaming and all that. So I mean, I mistook that. I was thinking for some reason that Xbox Gold is $10 a month or whatever, for some dumb reason that I was thinking that. So essentially Ultimate is already the combination of those two plus more content at the same price. So so any holdouts who are still just doing the Xbox Live Gold, I imagine, whether it be because they can't afford to, like I said, or because they simply don't wish to, because they just don't see the value yet, forcing them into it, they may not, I guess, appreciate. So I'm not sure if I would pull that trigger yet, I guess, if I was Microsoft.
Okay. All right.
Heard something you liked? Maybe you want to showcase a great gaming experience? Or perhaps you just want to share a laugh with the crew. Join the Discord by using the link in the show notes. We look forward to you being part of the community.
All right, so we're back, and we wanted to make a quick correction. We, during the break, we took a look at some of the stuff, and we wanted to correct that Xbox Live Gold is actually $10 a month and basically handles your multiplayer, your deals with gold, as well as games with gold. So when you go ahead and you partake in the Game Pass Ultimate, that goes ahead and essentially gives you the same stuff that you get with gold. Plus, it has its own Game Pass discounts if you were to try and buy the games. But I believe even combined, you don't get more than a 20% discount when you're looking in the store. So now that we have gone ahead and corrected that, we got some new news coming up around the corner, and something that I think everybody can get excited for. So Unreal Engine 5, it's the new hotness. It's coming out of Epic Games. They have a whole department that is basically focused on that game engine. And there are quite a few games that are in the works that go ahead and have basically been announced to be using Unreal Engine 5 in their creation process. Some of those, the newest one that came out on social media or announced on social media as making use of UE5 is Arc 2. You got a couple other interesting ones. Let's see, what was one of the ones I caught? Fortnite. It's kind of interesting. I guess they're going to try and do some improvements with the UE5 engine in Fortnite itself. But there is, where did it go? Redfall. So Redfall is apparently using UE5. There's a lot of different games, and of course, Senua Saga Hellblade 2. But so this one being reported on by GameSpot also highlighted probably one of the most exciting ones that I'll let Matt potentially talk about is a new Tomb Raider may be on the way. Matt, what are you thinking about possibly a new Tomb Raider entry and this UE5 news of all these good games that are going to be coming out using that engine?
I mean, I'm not like astonished that people are going to be using the engine. I think that's been a solid assumption for as long as we've known that they've been developing the engine, which that's been no secret. Fortnite essentially probably moving on to Unreal Engine 5 makes a lot of sense. Imagine that will, assist them in creating even more ridiculous stuff with, potentially better performance or at least no, negative performance or whatever.
You gotta make them skins look good.
That's right.
You got to bring back the building. Well, they did actually bring back building.
But yeah, I mean, the stuff that we've seen of it obviously looks incredible. So yeah, I mean, thumbs up from me. Stuff looks great. I'm excited to see what people are going to be able to do with it. Obviously, we've seen some things already. Throw that coalition video up, I guess, or something in the thing. Yeah, I mean, the stuff looks incredible. So yeah, I'm excited for the gaming in the future. Let's pump these games out.
Yeah. As you noted, Coalition went ahead. The Gears of War developers went ahead and pushed out a new tech demo using UE5. They say that it's not indicative of a specific game that they're developing, but I'll be damned if the tech demos that they brought out previously don't have the same kind of character models and everything that you're seeing in this latest one. And yeah, we can probably throw it up on the show here so folks can take a look at it if they haven't already seen it. But the next Gears of War game going to be UE5. Where was the one? The Witcher game. So we kind of talked about that last show. The new Witcher game, a new entry is going to be UE5. Mark, are you excited for this new journey into Unreal Engine 5 and what it presents for game development?
Yeah, I'm excited for your Arc 2 debut. No,
Slim
but
Diesel.
Slim Diesel.
Let me go ahead and contact Studio Wildcard, see if they'll have me as a stunt double or something.
Yeah, there you go.
No, but all jokes aside, yeah, it's exciting news, of course. I mean, it's just gonna keep getting better and better with the realistic aspect of what they're doing with these games nowadays. So yeah, it's exciting times.
Yeah, what was the name of that, Matt? What was the name of that face AI one that they put out? Do you remember that one?
Oh yeah, what was that?
Real
Yeah, I
face
don't
or something?
remember now. I don't know. It's the like meta-human creation thing.
Meta-human something.
I
That
don't
was
remember, but
that was
yeah, I
almost
shared
terrifying.
that screenshot with you guys. Like, we should put that up, like that little kid with the hair, that's all the details. And shit. I mean, insane, dude, insane.
Yeah, the amount of detail that you can have in those. But
It's
hopefully
unreal.
we'll go ahead and we'll get a whole lot more detail coming out in this next piece of news out of IGN. And I'm going to let Matt take it away because it's particularly, from a reputable developer who's going ahead and remaking two titles that he thinks are going to knock everybody's socks off. So, Matt, why don't you take this one away?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that everybody will get to experience them and enjoy them in the same way I did, I guess, when I was younger. But Remedy and Rockstar are partnering together to bring remakes of Max Payne 1 and 2 out at some point in the future, remade on Remedy's, was it Northlight engine or whatever. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think that those games were vastly superior to Max Payne 3, in which Remedy was not involved. I think that they could really benefit from, some of the upgraded niceties in tech that we've seen over the past couple of decades or whatever. And yeah, I'd very much look forward to getting my hands on them. Hopefully I don't botch them. Hopefully the guys that missed out on them in, our generation, and hopefully this new generation can get to appreciate them sooner than later.
Mark, what do you think? Did you get to play Max Payne 1 and or 2? And are you excited for remakes?
Yeah. The old PS2, I thought was the coolest thing. Doing the old diving through the doorways and, unloading on them. Yeah, the remakes can only get better, I would imagine. Of course, the graphics back then weren't to die for, but yeah, it should only be better.
All right, cool. And you heard it. We're all ready for it. Something we may not be ready for is this other news out of IGN talking about Epic Games and Lego are going to be working together to create a child-safe metaverse space. So probably Epic Games, okay, cool. We just talked about them insofar as the tech that they've got in Unreal Engine 5. I wasn't aware that they had any interest in doing anything with the metaverse, but apparently this is something that's going to be an immersive and creatively inspiring and engaging digital experience where a very family-friendly name in Lego is going to be working or partnering with the folks over at Epic. And so they went ahead and they made a statement here. Kids enjoy playing in digital and physical worlds and move seamlessly between the two. We believe there's a huge potential for them to develop lifelong skills such as creativity, collaboration, and communication through digital experiences, but we have a responsibility to make them safe, inspiring, and beneficial for all. Just as we protected children's rights to safe physical play for generations, we're committed to doing the same for digital play. We look forward to working with Epic Games to shape this exciting and playful future. So that quote coming from Lego CEO Niels B. Christensen. So interesting. When we've talked about metaverse here on the show, I'm going to be wholly honest. I don't think it's been a very positive discussion, especially with some of the conduct that we've seen in at least initial versions or initial spaces within the metaverse. But Mark, you're the one with the chillins and the one who has already expressed being super protective of them when it comes to social space and digital space and whatnot. Does this inspire you at all to maybe take a second look at it?
No, they will not be anywhere near this. I think it's an awful idea. Both thumbs down for me. I have no idea why this is even a thing. Like, it's the last thing kids growing up need to do is just do what I'm doing as an adult and sit in front of a screen and interact with people from God knows where that may or may not be a child. It's something that shouldn't be.
Okay, that's quite the hot take. I did not expect that one, but here you get it live on G3. Matt. So Matt, in your alter ego as Sarah, the 6-year-old, is this something that you're going to be getting into and scaring Mark's chillins? Or
that's funny. I was actually going to say to cue your little boy voice or whatever you used to do. But
I'm a real boy.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I can't say I'm super excited to hear about this. But I guess cue the countdown until we start hearing about Lego NFTs.
All right, cool. So we're going to move right on because apparently nobody is on board with this. I was pretty excited when I heard Lego. I was like, oh, yeah, cool. Maybe it'll be like Minecraft World or whatnot, right? How they go ahead and they have basically an AR overlay to the real world where kids get out there and even adults can get out there and maybe try to build some Minecraft type stuff overlaid the real world. But apparently nobody on the panel besides me is interested in that. So
I just don't see it. I don't know.
All right, that's fine. But, what we will see, though, hopefully, and are, I think, glad to see, is this other piece of news coming out of IGN where Activision Blizzard has gone ahead and they are now going to convert all of the testers that they had out at Raven Studios, the QA testers, to full-time employees. So here we go again with Activision Blizzard. We had, if you haven't been hearing about us go on and on and on about them on the show, that has definitely not been a positive take, aside from maybe an air of promise when we talk about the potential Microsoft acquisition. But they have been really not great in the PR space with regard to the rights of their employees and particularly fair treatment and equitable pay. And the QA testers, probably some of the biggest brunt of that joke over Activision Blizzard. They have had walkouts. They got almost the entire team got let go at some point. It's just been a huge sham over there. And so I find this news ironic. This is coming out, what is this, yesterday, the 7th, or at least the news got updated yesterday, April 7th. But I find this very interesting considering there's a lot of rancor going on in the House right now. Legislators talking about how particularly, who was it? Senator Elizabeth Warren. So I guess that would be more so the Senate than the House. But going ahead and talking about how this is going to be bad news. Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard is going to be bad news for all the employees and everything. And just about everybody, that was a tweet that she put out, and just about everybody in social media that I saw, that I bothered to scroll through, basically rebuked the shit out of that statement, saying like, what are you talking about? Microsoft has literally been rated like one of the top companies to work at. Their PR relations, albeit maybe a little bit politically inclined insofar as their wrappings with politicians and how well they work with them. And Matt can go on and on at length about that. But they are not a bad company. So the fact that a senator clearly did not do the due diligence, and I'm not picking on Senator Warren. I'm sure there are other politicians that have aired some similar grievances, albeit illogical grievances. This is good news coming out of Activision Blizzard. I just find it awful interesting that it's on the tails of all this stuff coming out about Microsoft acquiring it, coming in like the white knight and basically saving Activision Blizzard from itself. And here we have this news that basically sounds like they're trying to clean up the storm over there before the acquisition actually fully goes through. Matt, you were happy about this news. What's your take on this one?
Yeah, I mean, small victory for the workers. Cool. I think that's a very positive development. Happy that there is positive traction. Things are moving on that front. I do agree that it's probably mostly just to try and help rein in, some of the disaster that's been going on as they, approach the consideration for this merger. Hopefully it will be a, good sign of good things to come.
Mark, what about you? You think this is a good sign?
Yeah, I agree with Matt. Nothing much more else. Just take care of the people that take care of you. That's the business.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I guess I personally was a little shocked because my limited experience when I was a QA tester back at EA Tiburon, mind you, that was just for one studio, and it was just a seasonal gig back when I was in college. But they, what do they do? They're the Madden studio at that time, so they only work on one game at a time. And when you have normal development cycles, there's only a limited opportunity or a limited window when you're going to want to get QA involved. It's not going to be from the groundwork. It'll be once you have a semi-finished product. So I found this news interesting in the sense of like, wow, how big is their team? And can they actually justify gainful employment for full-time? So that was a little bit interesting to me, but nonetheless, they're going to go ahead and get an hourly rate of $20 an hour, get to partake in the company's bonus plan, and have access to full-time benefits. So good for those folks over at Activision Blizzard, and particularly Raven that went ahead and formed their union earlier this year.
Application.
Let me know how that works out. All right, cool. And yeah.
Want to contribute to the show? Maybe you want to try your chances at a question being aired? Give us a call at 702-690-9292, and you might find yourself so lucky.
All right, guys, so we're back, and we are now going to talk we're done with the news. Kinda. We're going to talk about some other news in the form of the BAFTA Awards. So if you're not familiar, the BAFTA Awards are the British Academy of Film and Technical Arts. And so they basically go ahead and have an award show every year. And gaming has been a part of that for many years now. And so they went ahead and they announced their winners of the 2022 BAFTA Awards. And so understand that this is particularly within the UK. It's the 18th year. It's the 18th year that they've been doing this. And it's actually highly recognized. It's not necessarily on the same level as like GDC, but you're talking about these are the folks that think of it almost like the Oscars, right? Because they go ahead and they're judging film and television. And in that same token, they're going ahead and recognizing games. So it's kind of prestigious in its own right. So just going through, I'm not going to list all the nominees because that'll probably take us into too long here. But I'm going to start with a category and say who won, and then we'll come back around and see if there's anything of particular interest that the team wants to talk about. So the BAFTA 2022 nominees for British Game, the winner was Forza Horizon 5. The nominees for Animation, the winner was Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. For Artistic Achievement, The Artful Escape. For Audio Achievement, The Artful Escape. For Debut Game, Tome. Evolving Game, No Man's Sky. Family Game, Chicory, A Colorful Tale. Game Beyond Entertainment, Before Your Eyes. Game Design, Inscription. Multiplayer Game, It Takes Two. Music, Returnal. Narrative, Unpacking. Original Property, It Takes Two. Technical Achievement, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. The EE Game of the Year, we can go back and double check EE, I'm not familiar with that one. Unpacking. Performer in a leading role went to Jane Perry as Celine Vastos in Returnal. Performer in a supporting role went to Kimberly Brooks as Hollis Forsyth in Psychonauts 2. And the best game, as dictated by, or the winner of best game for the BAFTA 2022 award, was Returnal. So congratulations to all those award winners. And Matt, go ahead and get your gloats in now for It Takes Two, so we can move on and have a discussion about the rest.
I don't even need to say it. Everybody already knew,
All right, cool, excellent. So best game, Returnal. I'm pretty excited about that one, seeing as how that was one of the games announced coming in June to the new PlayStation Plus service. So I'll definitely be partaking in that one. I thought it was interesting that British game was won by Forza Horizon 5. Thought that was ironic. I'm like, you guys missed a number there. 4 was the one that was in the UK. However, I did think artistic achievement and audio design going to Artful Escape was a good one. If you haven't got to play it yet, it's like a 4.5 hour playthrough, and it's a great game. And yeah, Mark, what did you think? Game design, Inscription, were there any others here that were, highlights for you?
Oh, yeah, it's just nice to see that it's all the other Game Awards titles. It's all the same games.
Well, last year was kind of a interesting one by way of development, right? We saw a couple little offerings through the year, and then there was like a big dump towards the end of the year. Matt, what else was of particular interest to you here on this list?
There's a big jump.
Big jump of games, baby.
Yeah. I guess congrats to all the winners. I did also think the Forza nod was funny, but the British game distinction is not that it's set in Britain; it's that it's produced by a British production.
Thank you.
The EE title also, I don't know what the acronym means, I guess, but it's apparently the one that the public gets to vote on. So that's why it's got some level of distinction there. So yeah, so congrats to the couple that made unboxing or whatever, unpacking or whatever. It's apparently really cool, and people are seeming to enjoy it. So well done.
Yeah, this was all over. The fact that Returnal won Best Game, I'll tell you, was all over social media, particularly in the PlayStation spaces. They were going nuts about it. You had all the folks over there at Housemarque, and again, keep in mind, Housemarque got acquired by PlayStation memory serves right before they launched Returnal. So basically, it was their big first party homecoming, if you will, right out the gate. And so the fact that they won a Best Game Award and were in high contention with a lot of other annual game awards kind of speaks to what we can hopefully expect in the future coming out of PlayStation first party, and particularly Housemarque. So that being said, we're going to roll into our last topic, and then we'll just kind of shoot the stuff, if you will, towards the end of the show here. So a couple interesting things, and this is kind of my jab to the crew, and we'll see if we want to talk about this at length or how much we actually want to talk about it. So we went ahead and we talked about last week, PlayStation Plus. They got their new tiered service that's coming out. We also mentioned Microsoft with their family plan potentially in the works for Game Pass. Nintendo Switch Online has their own service, particularly as well as family plan. So we looked back to some news that came out earlier this year, particularly an interview with PC Gamer back in February, where Gabe Newell, the head of Valve, went ahead and said he has no issues going ahead and supporting Microsoft to put Game Pass on Steam. So this was probably really great news for anybody who is a PC Game Pass user. Anybody with Game Pass Ultimate is therefore, a Game Pass user as well, a PC Game Pass user. And that is part and parcel to the argument that you usually hear of things that the PC Game Pass folks are not happy with, is the fact that the interface is a little clunky, the updates are wonky and don't go very smoothly. It's not super user-friendly, where some of those are the exact opposite arguments that you hear from Steam. So while, back from this article and this interview, Gabe Newell and the folks over at Steam have not indicated they have any inclination whatsoever to go ahead and produce a Steam Pass, if you will. I pose that to the crew. When we go ahead and we look at it, the number of games that are constantly available on Steam or available on a regular basis is growing. In 2021, it reached 10,696 titles. In 2022, these metrics coming out back in February, they'd already added another 1,500 plus titles onto that service. And so I asked the question, as far as I think we've all dabbled insofar as most definitely Steam, but then as well as on the PC gaming side. Is there justification for them to come out with a Steam Pass or some type of subscription-based service? The closest thing I can think of that I have experience with is Humble Bundle. But outside of that, that's essentially like third party that takes advantage of, or in a positive way, takes advantage of Steam. But is there a case for that? Do you guys think, Matt, you and I had the most discourse about this offline. What do you think? Is there opportunity for Steam to go ahead and build their own subscription service? And would the gamers even want it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I think that is a very high hill for them to try and tackle. Like the logistics of that would be confusing. It's like, I don't know what they would really offer for the subscription. All of their revenue is from sales, right? Like they don't really own any of the IPs or content that are up on there. So it would be difficult for them to have a ready-made offering for like a subscription plan. They don't have quite the cash reserves that Xbox does to be like, hey, Bungie, we'll throw $100 million your way or whatever to put Destiny up on our, subscription service. Because at that point they're actively competing against their, game sales. So they'd have to price it to where they can, I don't know, man. That's that would be a tough proposition for them to make it a bargain for. I would imagine the large majority of their consumer base. So I can't say I really see that anytime in the future. I mean, if Microsoft wants to get Game Pass onto Steam, it's no real loss for them. They just allow access or whatever. It would probably work just like anything else does that goes through another client, where you would, uh, purchase the subscription on Steam, and then you would have to go to Xbox Game Pass app anyway to download your game and play it or whatever. But if they get a cut of the subscription, good for them, I guess. But otherwise, yeah, as far as like the Steam Pass, mean, you can play all the Half-Life games and Team Fortress, which is already free to play, and whatever for $1 a month, please.
Well, and so one of the reasons I brought this one up is kind of like when we took that jab earlier when I brought up the difference between Steam and Epic Game Store, right? Like Steam, whether they want to acknowledge it or not, there's competitors in the space, and Epic Game Store is gaining some traction, albeit maybe it's particularly because they're giving away free games every week. I'll just say every month, but it's every week. I think they're gaining that traction. And so when you look at it, I think PC gamers are used to two things in particular. One, having the freedom and ability to play their games, particularly with mods, right? Because if I build this great big system, I want to be able to manipulate it and anything that plays on it as I see fit. And the other thing they're maybe used to is lower price games. Generally, stuff comes out a little bit cheaper on PC because at least the going logic is you make that investment upfront in buying a PC or building your PC. So to that point, when we look at it and we look at like Humble Bundle, that is, I want to say $12 a month as I looked at it last. I think there's definitely opportunity if Steam wanted to go ahead. And I hear you talk about them cannibalizing from their sales, but then I argue, well, how is Xbox able to do it? How is PlayStation able to do it? It all comes back to having that guaranteed subscription fee coming in all the time. And I could very easily see Steam doing something like $5 a month, and it seems stupid easy. And they have a selection of those, what do we say, over 10,000 games. That's a huge library. And so the opportunity to then offer that to their consumers who, maybe don't want to get shovelware, but they want to try something without going ahead and paying $30-$40 at whatever price, even on sale.
Always got the demo and return policy. But yeah, I mean, it's like I understand where you're coming from. Obviously, it's been very successful for Xbox and Microsoft. It's just, I don't know, it's hard for me to conceptualize like what they would try and include in the bundle or whatever, like they certainly wouldn't be any, I can't imagine there would be any, day one releases hitting their service, day one or anything. So yeah, I don't know. It's an intriguing proposition.
Well, they're sitting on a bunch of money. We'll see. No. Mark, you have dabbled in the PC stuff. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. You've dabbled in the PC stuff. What do you think about this? Is that something that you'd be interested in outside of like, if you weren't into the Xbox ecosystem, would you be into paying a subscription fee to, let's say, Steam and taking advantage of a rotating library in their subscription service if they did one?
Yeah, I think it's something I would maybe dabble in. Of course, like you said, Xbox off the table, just strictly PC side. Be having access to, what'd you say, 10,000 plus games, possibly, it's enticing. So, as far as the whole Microsoft Game Pass thing from Steam, the only good thing about that would be obviously the subs, getting more subs for Game Pass, Microsoft, money. So it works out in their favor if they do have to, give Valve a couple pennies here and there to get those subs. I mean, why not? They could also do the other way where like Game Pass for PC right now has like they integrated the EA stuff. So like maybe they can just do, like, oh, hey, here's some X amount of Steam games included monthly with your Game Pass service. So like not the whole library, but like, select few. But I don't know. They could go either way.
Yeah, I think the Steam incorporation into Game Pass, that direction, is a little bit tighter because that's kind of more along the lines, I think, of what Matt was talking about. Because really, the only thing they're going to have proprietary ownership and access to is like the Valve produced games. So you got your Portals, your Half-Lives, your Team Fortresses, like Counter-Strike. Yeah, Counter-Strike's Valve, right? So you got a couple opportunities in there, but outside of that, like they have a very finite amount of titles. So I don't know if that one would be as promising. But anyways, it was just something that, I wanted to spitball around a little bit here because I find that we're going to see some changes. Something we didn't talk about in the show, but is probably newsworthy nonetheless, is the deal finalized today with Discovery and them now going ahead. Was it Warner and Discovery and Warner Brothers Discovery and CNN? Like it's a big friggin' merger on the television entertainment side of things, but it also begs the question of what we're going to see happen in the future here with Warner Brothers, the games, and any of the studios that are under that. So Monolith is in there, Warner Brothers Games is in there, NetherRealm Studios is under there. A lot of heavy hitters that we've seen great third-party titles come out. Mortal Kombat 11 comes to mind. Middle-earth Shadow of War comes to mind. And it'll be really interesting to see what happens going forward if those guys take true and proper advantage of those studios to support them to the max extent possible, or if we're going to see more consolidation in the space and someone like PlayStation or Xbox go ahead and scoop them up. And so that was just kind of the thing I was thinking. I see the partnerships happening, but I could almost very well see Steam going ahead and reversing course and just saying, you know what? Yeah, a subscription fee would be nice to add to the mountains of cash that we got back here. So just some food for thought. But anyways, moving on, wrapping up the show, food for thought. The Halo TV series is out. Episode 3 is aired. It's crazy. I don't know. I say that I didn't get to watch episode 3 before the show, unfortunately, and I have a feeling you gentlemen did. Let's bring it right back around. Mark, what are we thinking? Do we like the show so far? It definitely does not play in with, the games, but what are we feeling?
Did Matt, did you watch it?
The third episode? Yes.
Yeah. All right. You start.
All right. I mean, are we just talking about that in general or the show in general? Like, as far as the show is concerned,
I can't give. I was going to say I haven't seen episode 3, but I'll give my critic review.
Give us
after your.
Oh, okay. I mean, third episode was okay. I'm going to be honest, not a whole lot happened. Still more kind of, setting up all of the various elements, I guess. I have no idea how many episodes this first season is supposed to be, so I'm curious to see.
I want to say 8.
What they're actually. Yeah, that's kind of. Be interesting to see what I guess they actually accomplished within the run of the first season here. But episode 3 was okay. They introduced Cortana, and I gotta be honest, I don't understand it all. I'll get to it when we talk about the show in general, but I mean, Jen Taylor does a fine job with the voice acting. That's all fine. It's whatever. Some of the other elements bother me, but go ahead and give us your critical review, Mark, or we can go back to Leo, or however you guys want to do this. But yeah, I don't know if I want to just give a general review of the third episode. I'm more just discussing kind of the series as a whole and what our thoughts are and everything.
Yeah. I have not seen 3. I actually had no intentions of seeing it anytime soon. The show itself, to me, I really hate to say it because I am a Halo fan, is garbage. The acting is horrible. The CGI guns, I don't know why they did that. They could have had some type of weapon and then have CGI bullets of some sort. I don't know. everything about the show so far for me, aside from episode 3, because I haven't seen it, is just bad. Like, to me, like, episode came out yesterday, or I'm sorry, when was it? Wednesday they come out?
Yeah, Wednesdays.
Wednesday, yeah. So I was like, see, I don't even know when they come out anymore. So I was like, and I like, oh yeah, Halo, I gotta watch it today. Like, to me, I was like, nah, like, I'll watch Moon Knight instead.
Dude, that Moon Knight, that's I think that's pretty good. That poses pretty interesting. Yeah. So unfortunately, like I said, I was pressed for time with all kinds of stuff this week. I say that, and I probably could have found some opportunity to watch Halo, albeit it would have been by myself and not with the wife.
Master Chief hangs on.
Having so retarded. Sorry for those.
He does get butt naked. I mean, it's you don't see quite all that, but
okay. Now
I'm dead serious.
Now
man.
I almost don't want to watch it.
Is it like that Dr. Manhattan? You know, he's just swinging.
No, you don't see his rifle, his shotgun, or whatever. But,
you don't see the tool of the trade.
Right.
So I will say, having read quite a few of the books, I understood the backstory that they were going off of pretty quickly in episode 1. Still did not excuse, and in the books, Master Chief has his helmet off too a couple times, and it's descriptive, and so I think anybody who's been a fan of literature, particularly a particular franchise or whatnot, can say that their imagination has a better opportunity to portray, what they expect to see. I did not expect to see Pablo Schreiber looking like this. As the Master Chief taking the helmet off, I saw at least the trailer of what Cortana looked like in the the Showtime trailer. I'll be interested to see episode 3, but I'm still tenuous to see where the series goes. I'll put it that way, because the books did some justice by having some branching stuff, not Master Chief proper. So it presented a lot more of the universe. This is a very interesting take so far, and I'll reserve judgment until a little further in the season. But with that, let's go ahead and bring the show to a close with. Can't be forgetting that release radar, though, guys. So let's take a look at what we got for release radar coming up here from. Did I hit the wrong thing? I did hit the wrong thing. Coming out from April 8th. So what came out today all the way on? Okay. Before we get into that, while I get this segment wound up, Matt, I feel it. I feel it emanating from the corner over there. You're just pins and needles. You wanted to give us your take on the series as a whole.
Yeah,
go ahead and talk to us about the Halo series.
On there.
No, you said more than enough, but go on.
Oh, okay. I find a lot of the stuff to be regrettable. The story, I'm curious to see what they're going to do with it. Obviously, it's going to be a way different take. They're trying to humanize the Chief and whatever, and so now you're just seeing him mask off all the time and everything. And yeah, I agree. I definitely envisioned something a little more hideous underneath the helmet. These Spartans have supposedly had horrible things done to them in their formation or whatever. If nothing else, he's supposed to be a redhead, right? But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do. It's funny, like the first episode, yeah, I thought was trash. I mean, I agreed with Mark. It's the action was terrible. All of the CGI is pretty rough. The combat sequence where they're doing like the tracking, like the first person view and shit, and like that all looked terrible. It was just like, what are we doing?
Did you catch the one plasma pistol? It was like almost like cardboard looking.
Yeah.
In the one scene.
There was like the whole first episode was rough, man. I honestly, I didn't even want to watch the second episode after that. But what's funny is I had kind of the opposite reaction that Mark did, where the second episode, although there's no action or anything, whatever, I was like, okay, we're getting into the story. They're developing things. Like I actually was, I was slightly more enthusiastic about the second episode. The third episode, they're kind of just stretching out the story here, but I mean, they're expanding upon things. Yeah, I'd be curious to see where this is actually going. What the ultimate I guess crescendo of all this is going to be within 8 episodes or whatever to I guess hook us in for another season.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say it's already been renewed for the second season, so we'll see how that pans out. So, and with that,
Oh, my bad. Oh God, I should say I'm sorry. The whole point, yeah, was to get back to Cortana. Like I don't know why they did this with Cortana, where I get that they changed her appearance to more conform with the actress who was playing Halsey. Totally fine. I get that. Don't know why they didn't just leave her the blue that we're used to, but I could even deal with that. The problem is that the CGI again is just not up to par for where it should be, I guess. And so, like, rather than it doesn't even look like they had like her in like a motion suit or whatever. It's just a CGI person, and so like the animation is a little rough. Like she'll like walk, and it just doesn't look right paired with like the live actors that are in the scene or whatever. It's just like, I don't know. Disappointed.
you good? You done?
I'm good for now.
Okay. I didn't know. I thought we were just rolling into G3 After Dark all of a sudden, just about to sling F-bombs and S-bombs and talk about how great that show is. Anywho, finally, it's release radar time, so we can go ahead and talk about some of these games coming out. So today, April 8th, I was surprised. We actually had nothing come out. We had House of the Dead Remake come out on Switch yesterday. But otherwise, coming up, no, you didn't.
No, I didn't.
Mister, I don't even have a Switch. No way you bought it. Anyways,
Lego Star Wars. All right, that's it, folks.
yeah, Lego Star Wars. Mic drop. Good night. As Matt's image is frozen, we're just gonna press on here. So we got 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim coming out on Switch April 12th. Cat Cafe Manager on Switch and PC April 14th. Nobody Saves the World on PlayStation 4 and 5, April 14th. Road 96 on PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One, and the Series consoles, April 14th. And then just for grins, we'll go ahead and say we got Star Wars The Force Unleashed coming out on Switch, April 20th. So starting off with Matt now that video is unfrozen. He's back with us. What are we thinking? Anything of interest there? No? We're getting ready for Lego Star Wars?
Yeah, nothing I really had my eye on. I guess if I hadn't had access to it otherwise and had a Switch, then maybe Force Unleashed. I don't know. But no, I can't really say I've got my eye on any of those particularly.
All right, Preston, Mark, anything of interest here?
Nothing that you mentioned towards the end of the month. One title, that's about it.
All right, cool. We'll talk about that later. But so right now, let's bring the show to a close. Mark, why don't you tell us what you've been doing, what you've been playing, where people can find you, and all that good stuff.
As as mentioned, still with the sick household, so everyone's trying to get better here. The son is finally coming over his. I got a slight cough, but getting over mine as well. The wife's doing good, and other than that, doing pretty good. Trying to get back into some games. I tell myself I want to play something else, but I find myself watching Elden Ring videos all day at work, which makes me want to play it more. So I'll probably play it right after this. I do need to get back into some other things like Tunic and, Inscription and the backlog. But, actually looking at some GPUs since it's come down in price. So now's my time. Get the little upgrade. With that being said, if I do snatch one up, I might dabble in the whole streaming. Not full time, of course, just here and there. Because right now I don't think my current setup can handle all that. But yeah, other than that, that's it.
All right, cool. Matt, bring it home. What you been playing? What you been doing? Where can the people still not find you?
Yeah, I'm in my hidey hole. I've been playing Elden Ring also. It's got its hooks in me and as well. I'm already itching, frankly. But I'm sure, hopefully we'll be playing something tonight, gents. But yeah, otherwise that's pretty much what I've been doing in the time that I've got for it.
All right, yours truly, known as Ice on all things gaming and social media. I have not been playing Elden Ring. Unfortunately, I've been playing very little this week. What I have played, though, I'm inching my way, trying to finish that Spider-Man remaster on PS5. I also played just a tad bit more Tunic. Couldn't help myself but play some more Slay the Spire when that came out in the PlayStation Plus free games this month. So you got no excuse not to try it and listen to what we've been saying about it being an awesome game. Other than that, I've been more so watching some stuff, particularly before I go to bed. I made the mistake of starting the Witcher series on Netflix finally, and I can totally see why it got renewed all the way out to like 7 seasons. It's freaking awesome. So with that, I got nothing else. We got nothing else. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 34 of G3 Podcast. Feel free to like, subscribe, rate us wherever you can. And remember, yeah, what he said. And remember, gaming's greatest generation is the one you guys are a part of.
Thanks for listening to the Gaming's Greatest Generation podcast. We hope you enjoyed your time with us today. If you have any feedback for the show or would like to contribute ideas, feel free to call 702-690-9292 or email us at gamingsgreatestgeneration@gmail.com. You can also join the Discord community by following the link in the show notes. See you next time.